cause. The House does now come to questions for oral answer. And the first question stands the name of the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Is he satisfied that all systems set up pursuant to commitments he has given to assist residents following the Christchurch earthquake are appropriate and working?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, generally yes, but due to severe damage in the eastern suburbs, some households may well be without power, water and sewerage for some time yet. However, I want to assure people that everything that can be done is being done to restore essential infrastructure.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Will he ask the Minister of Finance to issue a direction under Section 12 of the EQC Act requiring prompt and direct payment for rebuilding in Christchurch in light of comments by the Master Plumbers Chairman Mark Whitehead and builder Nick Rogers, who said today that they are refusing to carry out rebuilding work for EQC because they don't get paid, and they're now requiring distressed homeowners to pay cash up front before any work is done?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'm sure I don't think EQC would need a direction to ensure that they do as much as they can to expedite the rebuilding process. We understand the pressure that's on, particularly on contractors who were expecting the rebuild from the first earthquake to be well underway now, and that has been delayed by maybe a month or two. But we'll work with EQC to ensure they do it as fast as they can.
The Honourable Annette King.
Well, in light of that answer, will he ask the Minister of Finance to take urgent steps to ensure contractors and subcontractors who are owed thousands of dollars by EQC for emergency work done after the September quake are paid, and to avoid their businesses failing with losses of hundreds of jobs? Some businesses have already taken out loans to stay afloat.
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, certainly if there are contractors that haven't been paid who should have been paid according to normal credit terms, then EQC should get on and do that. But I think the significant problem with the shorter-term problem with the construction industry in Christchurch was its expectation that it would be gearing up quite rapidly now, and that has been delayed by the second earthquake. All the parties involved, though, now have a great deal more experience in how to get this underway faster, and I would hope it will be underway faster than last time round.
The Honourable Annette King.
Does he agree with Mayor Bob Parker that landlords who are hiking up rents on houses and business premises in Christchurch are, quote, looting by another name, end quote? And has he considered taking action similar to the federal government of the United States following Hurricane Katrina, which limited increase of rents, etc., to no more than 10%, to prevent greedy landlords from profiting from other people's misery?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, we would share the Mayor's concern that if there is significant profiteering, the government will be listening to the advice of the Minister for the Earthquake Recovery, who's on the ground and also shares those concerns.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question. Who is collating and acting on information about vulnerable residents, for example, elderly living alone, bedridden and those with disabilities, when some have been visited several times by various agencies, including Maori wardens, police, the army, social agencies, etc., and others have not been visited at all? And how can the government ensure that these people get the assistance they need?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, as the members pointed out, there are a number of agencies who have who regard it as their obligation to contact vulnerable people who simply don't have the capacity to deal with the difficult circumstances they find themselves in. There's quite a bit of work going on to try and coordinate those efforts to ensure that there is complete coverage and no one is left out.
Point of order to the Honourable Annette King.
Speaker, I really appreciate that answer, but would the Minister be able to tell us by whom? That is the issue. Who is collating and acting on this information? That's the core of the question.
What I'll do is allow the member to repeat her question, but do keep it succinct.
Thank you,
The
Mr.
Honourable
Speaker.
Annette King.
I ask the Minister who is collating and acting on the information about vulnerable citizens in Christchurch. Some are being visited by many agencies, some have not been, but who's ensuring that they get the services they need?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't want to give the member an exact answer about that specific task. It's quite likely that it's the Ministry of Social Development who are the primary government agency for delivery both of the contact by telephone calls, the social assistance to the EQC assessors, social workers going round with the EQC assessors and setting up the neighbourhood offices which give more people easier access to the support. But I will check to see whether MSD are performing that particular task.
The Honourable Steve Chadwick.
To the Minister, what procedures will be followed when determining which heritage buildings damaged by the earthquake will be demolished?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I can't answer that question in detail because it's a subject of discussion between the Civil Defence Controller, the Minister for Earthquake Recovery and the Christchurch City Council. But clearly there needs to be a transparent and predictable process for dealing with that issue.
The Honourable Steve Chadwick.
To the Minister, does he agree with the Minister for Earthquake Recovery's comments on the preservation of heritage buildings that there is a need to move fairly quickly, and if I had my way, they'd be done tomorrow?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the Minister has expressed a view that a number of older buildings which after the first earthquake were regarded as heritage buildings worth preserving have now collapsed and killed people. And so he's expressed a view that some of those buildings should be dealt with because they're dangerous, and we would expect that regardless of whether they're heritage buildings or not, if they're a danger to public safety, they should be dealt with shortly.
Question number 2, David Bennett.
Mr.